Service delivery has been severely impacted at municipalities that are mostly governed through coalitions. In many instances, council's ability to adopt policies, approve bylaws and budgets have been negatively affected at these municipalities. Well, let's talk to the South African Local Government Association's KZN Chairperson Thami Ntuli ahead of a symposium to enforce good governance in municipalities in the province. Thami, very good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Okay, thank you very much, Hugo. Good afternoon to yourself and to your viewers.
I suppose the first thing I'd like to talk about is what is SALGA and what is your mandate?
Well, SALGA is an association for municipalities or for local government. And our mandate is to advance the interest of the community and the interest of local government. You know that there are interests such as issues of service delivery where the people expect local government to provide basic services. And at the same time, in the system of local government, we have officials and councillors who also have some interest that will equip them to be able to deliver services which are actually required. That is our focus, and we are in persuasion of improving the performance of local government so that people will realize what they've hoped for decades, that one day they will see things changing in their communities, even to invite them. You know, as SALGA, we actually embarked on a program of association campaign wherein we were deliberately as SALGA persuading a local government to give even the youth an opportunity to echo what they wish to see local government actually doing for them. You know that when it comes to even the programs such as public participation in municipalities, where most of the municipalities will be going to halls and to the meeting committees in different avenues. But you'll find that at a very low scale, you'll find the youth participating. Hence, as SALGA, we're saying we need to identify where we find the youth in most of their time so that will enable them to also have their views on what they expect a local government to be doing for them. In short, we listen to the community and do what the community really desires.
So let's talk about the relationship of SALGA with the various municipalities. What sort of relationship do you have? I mean, judging from the poor service delivery, it would almost seem that municipalities either choose to ignore you or aren't entirely familiar with what service delivery is, as obvious as it may seem.
Well, you know, when you talk about the relationship of SALGA and local government, in fact, SALGA is local government because the membership of SALGA is municipalities. Hence, whatever we deliberate around is what the municipalities will be deliberating around. The challenges of poor service delivery, in fact, they are not only exaggerated by the failure from the side of local government. Well, there are issues, hence we are calling for the depoliticization of local government and privatization of local government, because we believe something might have not gone right in the past. But there are fundamental challenges, which in our view as SALGA in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we believe if they can be addressed, then whatever measures we're trying to put in place to try and support municipalities so that their performance will be improved, in fact, will be effective. But if those fundamental...
What are those fundamental challenges?
The issue of funding. Because, you know, when you talk about service delivery, you need to have enough capacity to actually deliver to the people. You know, the funding model which is still used for local government is the one which was used during the apartheid time, wherein the issue of population was used as at the center of determining how much will be given to a particular municipality. You know, the lowest funding of a municipality, you will find that a municipality will operate with only a budget of 200 million for the entire financial year. in that budget, municipalities is expected to electrify houses that are not electrified, is expected to do access road, is expected to do the halls, is also expected to do other functions such as the sports, the issue of supporting other issues of the society. But when you look at the funding model, which when it was actually introduced, there was a thought that municipalities would be able to collect the revenue. Whereas when you go to the provinces such as KwaZulu-Natal and other provinces, they are mostly rural. As a result, you cannot make the people who are unemployed living in the rural places to actually pay the rates or pay for the services.
Well, two issues, Thami, if you'll allow me, that come to mind. One, obviously, is that there is a constituency of individuals that require a service but are unable to pay for that service. So whether you want to collect from those people or not, you're not going to be able to collect anything because they don't earn income. Do you make a provision in your budget for these individuals, and how big is this constituent? And then the second part is, you talked about SALGA being a government itself, or an extension of government. So in many ways, what conversations are you having amongst yourselves about this old policy, this old way of allocating a budget of 200 million rand, for instance, to a population which isn't sufficient, needs to be changed?
Well, there are so many challenges, apart from what I've already mentioned, which are facing local government. Even resourcing the human capital that we have there is still a challenge. We have been making a call, SALGA. In fact, we had an interaction with the Minister of Finance, even with the President himself, and even with the Minister of Culture National, wherein we were actually calling for the revision of the funding model for local government. We have been making that call, and we have noticed as SALGA that in most of the time when the President of the country is addressing the issues of service delivery, will indicate that his faith is in local government. Though maybe the spirit will be local government, at times they fail the people to realize what they actually aspire to see in terms of service delivery. Hence, we also believe that there should be a shift in terms of what is a reflection by whoever in authority, that there is an acknowledgement and understanding that the funding to local government is still an issue that ought to be addressed. The bigger consequence of local government is unemployed. Even those who are employed, not paid adequately, you'll understand disaster after disaster in terms of the decisions and what is happening in the country, in terms of what people earn and what the expenses are in the country, the hikes of the electricity, tax hikes. You know, it's becoming difficult even for the small emerging small businesses there at the local government to pay. Hence, in local government, we have what we call the indigent register for a particular category, which is a majority, especially in the rural municipalities, where we are saying we accommodate them to have some relaxation in terms of what they will be paying for and what they will be not paying for. And that, because you are forced by circumstances that those people, they have no source of income, they cannot afford to pay for the services. Hence, most of the municipalities, they are grants dependent. They rely on they rely on the provision by government. Hence, we are saying, if the issue of the grants could be actually attended to in terms of ensuring that there is an improvement in terms of the funding model and in terms of more capacity given to local government, I think we can realize the change. However, we acknowledge the fact that in most or some of the municipalities, there is a challenge of the capacity when it comes to the human resource because of cadre deployment, which I believe is also taking a local government aback each and every time when a person who doesn't possess necessary skill to do the job is actually hired, which results to municipalities to even consider hiring the consultants to do the work which is not supposed to be done by a consultant, but it's supposed to be done by someone who's employed. Like in my municipality, because I'm also a mayor of King Cetshwayo, this municipality, when it comes to the issue of the financial statements, we do not hire consultants. We do it inside. And we have taken even a route to insource most of the services. In terms of the repairs and maintenance, we said instead of hiring contractors, we need to ensure that we hire the qualified plumbers who will be able to assist us. Hence, the challenge which we're seeing is that though the issue of funding is a challenge, but there's also this challenge which we assist with.
Mr. Ntuli, I appreciate your time on the show today. Would have loved to chat more, but unfortunately that's all we had. Thami Ntuli, Saga, KZN Chairperson, speaking to us about some of the challenges ahead of that symposium coming up on the 26th of February. You're watching News.